I don't have a lot of time today, so we're going to keep this short on today's Unnamed Real Estate Podcast. Hi there, my name is Charles Ray Dawson. I'm the Associate Broker Residential Sales Manager of ProStar Realty. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, episode 248. So, hope you guys are all doing well. I'm actually recording this on Wednesday because tomorrow, when you're seeing this, will be Thursday, and I am going to be spending most of my day at the VFW post, and we're holding a Shread-a-thon, and that basically means people are going to come in with their boxes of documents and stuff, and we're going to throw them in a big wood chipper. So, couple notes. If you start thinking this is a really good idea, by the time you're watching this, it's probably already over, and we will be inspecting the boxes to make sure you're not trying to get rid of your local pedophile piece by piece. All right, but if you happen to still be watching this sometime between the hours of 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock and decide, hey, I could really stand to get rid of those old ballots that I keep getting sent from the state of Arizona to people who haven't lived here for the last 5 years, bring them on down and we'll make sure to take good care of those for you, just like our county recorder does. That was possibly a felony, but I don't care. So, hope you guys, yeah, it's just, got to get this done, so I decided to run Wednesday, record today so I can check it off my list, get it out all ready to go, and so I can dedicate all of tomorrow to helping veterans. We do the Shread-a-thon, and we ask for $5 donation a box. This is the money that we use to fill up the kitty. So when we're helping the vets down at the local VA hospital, or just in general, including the people who just call me up because it's the end of the month and they suddenly realize that they paid all their bills and stuff and they don't have anything left for groceries, well, that's what we're there for. So, let's see. I didn't have any national news until I suddenly had national news. So saw a headline that looked really interesting, but for some reason the website is not downloading off the headline. But, all right, let's just start at the top. We have another dead agent. You guys might remember that this tends to be one of those things I'm always harping on agents about. Whether or not they listen to me or not is a different thing. But this one happened in 2019, but the last defendant was actually prosecuted and convicted this week. So the wheels of justice, they do grind slowly, but eventually. So little highlights, same thing I tell people to do. She went out to show a listing. Now, does not sound like she qualified said buyer before she met them at a vacant listing, right? But her name was Monique Bra. She was actually kidnapped on New Year's Eve of 2019. And a couple of the highlights, she was 40 years She was called out to show a listing where she was accosted by one of the three parties, Lyndon Wiggins. He was a gentleman who was just last found guilty. And apparently Wiggins had been having an argument, a workplace dispute with Monique's boyfriend. So he calls her up. She pops up. He apparently kidnapped her, duct taped her, threw her in the back of a U-Haul van, and then drove to her house that she was living with her boyfriend and their kids, apparently, and where the assailants shot the boyfriend and then took her out into the alleyway and shot her too. The police responded. She was removed to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. So they've been now found guilty, and this just reiterates my entire story of, if you ever wonder why real estate agents are so very, very serious about qualifying you before we meet you in strange, remote locations outside of screaming distance of the rest of society, this is the reason why we do that. Okay, it's not just because we're dicks. Well, yeah, there's part of that, because a lot of us just don't want to waste our time with a bunch of looky-loos who just whatever. Okay, but a lot of it is for our own personal safety. Now, just as a reminder, so you people in Arizona, when you start thinking this is a pretty good idea, all right, one in every 6 real estate agents carry a handgun. So you are playing Russian roulette. So go find somebody else to to stalk. All right. especially none of my ProStar agents, right? Our ProStar policy is 2 in the head, 2 in the chest, 1 in the head, call your broker. And I think that should actually be something that the NAR itself should put out as a guideline, but they never will. They got way too many people from blue states on their boards. So other than that, what else is going on? There was, like I said, there was a great little headline that said, dumb homes are the latest home buying flex. And of course, now the articles won't allow because the link is dead, but I can guess that especially after the various internet outages and whatnot, AWS went out last week. That's Amazon Web Services. A lot of companies decide to outsource their IT department to Amazon. And then when Amazon goes down, all of a sudden your company's down. There's also a couple of instances. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was Atlanta, the AT&T building bombing. It dropped the internet in Atlanta, and a whole bunch of people suddenly couldn't get into their houses because their smart door locks did not work. So there's something to be said for the old ways, kids. It's not because I can't afford the stuff. It's just I don't trust anything with an IP address. Worked in IT way too long for that. Anyways, let's go on. Our numbers for November 5th, 2025. Actives this week were 25,421, down 202 from last week. New listings were 2,272, up 254. Our contracts were 2,270, up 48, and closings were 1,883. Coming soon to an MLS near you is 541 new listings. Ray, how can we have lower actives when we put more into the tank and we didn't take out as much? Well, that's usually a sign of listings expiring and not renewing. So you have not sold your house, and all of a sudden your agent comes up and says, give me another 180 days, and you're looking into the holidays. You've pretty much already given up on selling before Christmas. So it's like, yeah, we'll give you a call at the new year. Pro tip, they'll never call you at the end of the new year. They're going to call some other agent who can get the job done, like me. So supply was 104, okay, up just a little bit. Our demand actually went up too to 81.1, but because supply rose faster than demand, our Cromford report number did drop down to 78 from like 78.1 or 3 or something like it was last week. And then just to take a look at our individual city areas, we still have Fountain Hills leading the pack and growing. Look at that. They're up 2% over last month. They're at 57.1. Rounding off the rest of the sellers markets is Paradise Valley, Chandler, Scottsdale, Gilbert, and Cave Creek. Almost. I thought they were going to drop out, but if they're still they're dropping 3% a month. If not next week, then the week after, they'll be in balanced territory. Our balance is Avondale, Mesa, Phoenix, Tempe, and Glendale. Right, Tempe, big grower, 13% up over this time last month, and they seem to be rocking and rolling over there. And but they're Tempe, they're weird. All right, and then for our buyers markets, if you're looking out there for a deal, Peoria, Goodyear, Santan, Valley Surprise, Queen Creek, Buckeye, and Maricopa. Of these, though, remember that Buckeye is actually up 6%. So what's going on out there? All right, you're going to start seeing things get better as interest rates get better. And just as an aside, let you guys know, one of my buyers locked in an interest rate of 5.75 this week. Actually, we locked it in last week. The lucky bugger actually got it on the lowest day of the year. Just happened to lock, right? So are we going to see those rates start coming back down? I'm not feeling it for various reasons I've told before. We'll have to see how that goes on. All right, but what does this mean to you? If you need to buy a house, buy a house. If you need to sell a house, sell a house. All right? Otherwise, you're going to wind up in a van down by the river. Or a cardboard box. Boy, I'm up to my eyeballs in cardboard boxes, packing in all these files and whatnot, going back through old tax records and old photos that just like slide in. It's amazing how many photos of dead people I have, which is disturbing. Okay. But, you know, just in case you guys are wondering, after 7 years, it's pretty much considered safe to get rid of your tax forms. I had stuff going back to 2001. And I had old files going back, and I'm sitting there looking at some of these quotes. It's like, Wow, a new roof for $6,000? There's no way you could get a new roof for $6,000 nowadays. The last quote I saw was like 16 for, and that was just for the felt. That wasn't replacing the tiles or anything like that. I mean, just huge numbers like that, you know. Pool equipment, expenses, everything is a little bit pricier. But I did find my very first file from my very first closing where I got a huge commission check of $3,000, which is, I don't want to sound arrogant or something like that, but that's not quite a rounding error, but that's not quite a transaction I'd be going out of my way to find at this point. Because remember, if you're doing one for, I think it was, we closed at $150,000. All right, that is 4 times less than what I currently have in escrow. 4 and change. That just shows you how much a house price is going. In fact, I sold that house for about 5 and change earlier this year. That very same house. I should pull out both checks and compare the two. You know, that's what buying a house and keeping into it. It was a great house. Had this, that, and the other thing. It also had a beautiful pool that with children and pets always being watched around. All right. It also, along those lines, you didn't have to drive anything flooded to get out to it. It's just right down there, down northern. All right. I know this lady, she talks to her mother every day. Okay. And she's always working her circles because she's part of my circles. And I hope you are too. I'll catch you guys later next week when I have more time to talk. See you.